What's up, everybody? It's me, Bryson Booker, and it's time for another 90s BBTV movie review just for you, and all of you dog lovers out there. I needed to find a dog that, I could relate with. Well, I guess you could say relate with, but a dog that would make me feel better on TV. And, I was gonna watch Lassie, but then it's like, well, Lassie's too cheesy. So then I chose the second cheesiest movie I knew, and that's Beethoven. Released in 1992 by Universal Pictures. This movie had an unusual cult following, and it's basically was just really known as a decent movie. It was a box office hit, but when you look back on it and you watch it again, it's like, well, I guess you could say it was a box office hit, but the movie itself feels just like an ordinary movie. And so I'm just going to give you a summary of the movie and then basically tell you my opinion of it. Okay, so the writers was John Hughes, and obviously we know John Hughes is from doing such film as Home Alone and Home Alone 2. And also some 80s movies that nobody cares about. But, we all know John Hughes is for Home Alone, right? And so he was actually a writer on this movie. However, he goes by a different name, probably because he was embarrassed that this movie was released to theaters. He goes by Edmond Dantes. I don't know why. Like I said, he must have thought this movie was cheesy as well, so that's why he changed his name. Like, I had nothing to do with it, but he really did. And the movie itself is basically about a slobbering dog that first goes astray and basically goes to a family who obviously takes him in, except the father of the family. And obviously, the kids love Beethoven, the mom loves Beethoven, but the dad hates Beethoven. And so it's that classic story of dad hates dog, but dog loves dad, and dad wants to get rid of dog because dog is driving dad nuts. And that's really, the basic plot of the movie, as well as there's a kidnapper who's kidnapping the dogs and killing them. And so obviously the kidnapper wants Beethoven, as well as Beethoven's little dog buddy that we meet at the beginning of the film. He wants to kidnap them both and basically, kill them. And so at the end of the movie, the dad finally literally gives in and said, what the heck, I'll just rescue the dog, and they all live happily ever after at the end. That was basically the whole film in a nutshell. So my overall thoughts of Beethoven. It's okay. It isn't laugh out loud funny. And it doesn't want to be. It doesn't even try to be laugh out loud funny, guys. The family itself reminds me, the whole time, the family just reminded me of one other cheesy family that I can think of. And I mean, if you know where I'm going with this, don't spoil it for the other people. But the family in this movie really acts like the family from
Whatever happened to predictability? The milkman, the paperboy, evening TV.
Yeah, they do. Guys, whoever loves this movie, they do act like the family from Full House. I'm telling you. It's just that typical, stereotypical family. You got the nerd that gets beat up all the time. You got the girl that obviously wants to try and find a boy for her. You got the stay-at-home mom who's always, slightly snobby. And then you got this dad that's always mad at everybody and everything and wants to have his own way all the time. Doesn't that remind you of Full House? I mean, come on. The cheesy jokes, the cheesy lines, the cheesy story plots. I mean, it's existing in this movie. And it reminded me of that. Just watching the family and how they interacted with one another and their environment. Just everywhere you go, everyone it brought back bad memories, basically, from watching Nick at Night as a kid and really hoping for another Rugrats episode, but then getting everywhere you go, oh my god. But before I go off on another rant about Full House and how I hate it, let's just finish this movie, talking about this movie. So it was okay. I mean, at the end, it's the obvious rescue story. Like, the family as a whole really feels for the dog, and they want to rescue him and they want to keep him as a pet, forever, obviously, and so it's the typical ending. The dad comes to his senses and say, man, did I act like a donkey? Maybe I should actually listen to my family instead of try to satisfy myself and my own needs and actually do something my family wants to do, and that's to keep this dog. And so that's when the dad finally comes to himself and says, you know what, you're not such a bad dog. But then in the back of his mind, it's like, I should have killed this dog a long time ago. It's kind of like that. But, it's a light-hearted family tale that everyone can enjoy. It's not, it really doesn't take itself too seriously. I think the main star of the whole movie is the dog. Literally. And I think people really went to go see this movie because of the dog and how it acted in the movie. And how it acted really well, better than the human characters did. So my overall opinion of the movie is kind of, it's okay. It's not extremely good, but it's not extremely bad. It's kind of in the middle. And I guess the IMDb thinks the same thing, as well as Rotten Tomatoes, because they kind of gave it a 5 out of 10, and Roger and Ebert gave it like a 3 or 4 out of 10. So I mean, it's okay. It's okay. And so, it's up to you if you want to watch it for yourself and get your own opinion about it. It's up to you. I'll tell you this, though. This movie, I guess, one movie wasn't enough. So, they came back with a sequel a year later. How ironic. In 1993, it was Beethoven's Second. Now, you think Universal Pictures would learn from that experience, because that was kind of an okay movie, too. You think they would learn and not release another Beethoven thing or franchise, right? Well, they didn't, because after Beethoven Second, they created this piece of crud. Beethoven! Okay, so after a TV show that only lasted one season with 26 episodes or, little 15-minute segments, you think Universal Pictures would give Beethoven a rest, right? I think they did, right? I think they gave it a rest, and they didn't make any more stupid movies starring this stupid dog. At least, let me think here. Yeah, I think for sure. Isn't that right, Bob? They stopped making the stupid Beethoven movies, right? Am I right?
Who let the dogs out?
Okay, so they kept going and going and going and going and going with the stupid Beethoven movies. And the last one they made, obviously, was in 2014. And, I think the whole franchise could just stop now, because these little millennials don't remember this stupid dog. They barely remember who Scooby-Doo is. How can they know who Beethoven is? But I guess, if you have longtime fans of the franchise, cheesy family-styled longtime fans of Beethoven, I guess they still like it. I don't like it. It's ridiculous. But this movie, the first movie, obviously, is considered to be at least really the best out of all of them. And it's decent, Not bad, not good, or not great. It's good. So check it out for yourself. It's Beethoven, guys. Released in 1992 by Universal Studios. Check it out.